Back in Austin, we're hanging out on Dirty 6th Street, having a few drinks, shooting some hoops, and Ethan decides it's a good idea to ride the bull. I'm pretty drunk at this point, so I'm all for it, and let's just say my performance was less than impressive.
This my shit.
Hoping poker doesn't follow the same trajectory, we head over to Texas Card House the next day for some 2-5 action. What's up, you guys? We're here at Texas Card House. The lines at the lodge were way too long. Had to spice it up and switch up the location for the vlog. No worries for you guys. We're into the 2-5 game here for $1,500. Got a bunch of friends in this one. It's going to be a fun episode. Hopefully we don't have to add on for any more money, and we're getting some big hands. If you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe, drop a like on this video, and hopefully let's get into a crazy good session. Woo! While we're at TCH, Ethan and Brad are at the lodge playing a 2550 live stream with a few railbirds behind them. The comment section goes nuts, and I take note and swoop one of them away from the boys. Wolfie 1, Brad and Ethan 0. JK, that's my girlfriend Madison. Back to TCH, we hop into the 2-5 game for $1,500. Of course it's Texas, so we're playing some PLO bomb pots. We get into a hand with John and end up 3-quartering him when we have quads. Pretty standard stuff so far. We look down at 9-7 of hearts from under the gun, and I open it up to $20. The button and the big blind both call, so we're going 3 ways to the flop. When the flop comes ace, queen, queen with 2 hearts, this is a pretty good flop for our range. We do in fact just have 9 high, but it is a flush draw, so that's pretty good. Big blind checks it over to me. In between him and the button, I decide to start with a check here, and the button checks behind, which pairs the board again. It comes to ace of diamonds. Pretty interesting dynamic so far. The big blind checks it over to me for a second time, and now given the fact that any ace or queen counterfeits my 9 high flush draw, I'm pretty much just going to give up here in the $60 pot and check it over to the button. He takes the free card once again, and that brings in the full house on the board, the ace of spades. Big blind checks it over to me. I could go for a bluff here. I know some of you guys would be an advocate for that, so I check it over to the button. He now decides to bet out for $40. The big blind puts in the call. I do as well. Let's see if we're going to chop this up. And sure enough, nobody had any piece of the board. We're going to chop up that pot there. At least I didn't lose money in that hand, right? We have $1,600 in our stack. I look down at ace king offsuit from middle position. Under the gun raises it up to $25, and with a premium holding in my hand, I decide to go for the 3-bet to $80. Our buddy Karan is on the table with us. He's in the hijack and raises it up to $325. Actions back over to the under the gun player. He only has 200 in his stack and happily puts it in the middle. Actions back over to me. Do I go for the 5-bet jam here into Karan, or do I just flat call with my ace king high? Honestly, against Karan, he's my buddy, but I know he's good action. I think I like the 5-bet jam here, maybe folding out some of his pocket pairs like 7s, 8s, or 9s. I just decided to flat call him here, and the reason why I'm not too big a fan of this is when the board comes all low cards like it does right now, 7-6 deuce with 2 hearts, we pretty much just have to check fold against any aggression. That's what I decided to do. I start with a check, and the action's over to Karan. He bets out a quarter of the pot for $225. Under the gun is already all in. No more action from him. And like I said, we pretty much just have to check fold here. I guess we could call one street and see what he does on the turn. But I decide to muck my cards, and they're off to a run out. Seeing 2 more cards, the turn comes the 8 of spades. River, the 9 of diamonds. Connects the board and puts a 4-liner out there. Karan turns over ace 8 of diamonds. So we ended up turning a pair. And the under the gun player turns over queen 10, is going to scoop that pot with the rivered straight. Brutal beat there for Karan. Ace king didn't work well for us there in the last hand. Let's pick it up again here. Now ace king of hearts from the big blind. Karan is good action. He raises it up in the +1 position to $25. Now Andrew Vodin, 3-bets to $80. Actions back around to me. I'm going to go for the 4-bet here. I learned my lesson in the last hand. Let's make it $480. We're out of position and there's some action in front of us, so I like the size up here. Karan gets out of the way. He mucks his cards, and now it's back over to Andrew, who doesn't think about it too long before ripping it all in, and he has me covered. Ace king of hearts. Do we fold our cards? Nah, I'm not a nit. I'm not putting my cards into the muck. I decide to push my chips into the middle, and he turns over pocket aces, the worst hand we could see. The flop comes king jack deuce with 2 spades. A little bit of peace of mind knowing if I would have just called him pre-flop, we would have gotten the money in anyways on a king high board. We're gonna need some help here, a king or maybe some straight ideas, but the 4 spades on the turn is a death card. He has the ace of spades in his hand as well. Jack of diamonds seals our fate, and he's taking down that 2.6k pot. Lucky for us though, we ended up running it twice. I just remembered it now. Second board comes king 9 deuce with all 3 clubs. I would have appreciated that king of clubs on the river there on that first board. 10 of spades followed by the 4 of clubs, and we're going to lose both boards there. So nice hand, Andrew, and I look forward to my fogo de chao Brazilian steakhouse dinner that you promised me in the future. I'm not leaving this game. We got 2 buddies on our table, and the chips are definitely flowing, so I rebuy for 1500. I look down at pocket aces, a little bit of justice here. I'm in middle position and raise it up to $20. I said we had a lot of buddies on this table. I wasn't lying. Marcelo from Agua Caliente back in Palm Springs, he's on my left, and he decides to call my $20 bet. No slow playing here. When the flop comes 7-4-4, I decide to bet out for 1 green chip, just over half pot, and he decides to put in the call, bringing us to see the 3 of spades on the turn. Not slowing down here, I'm going to go for value. I bet out for $60 into the $97 pot. And he wants to see 1 more card and tosses in enough chips to see the 9 of hearts on the river. Gonna go for some thin value here. I bet out for $50 on the 3 heart paired board. $50 is the bet. I do have the ace of hearts in my hand. Marcelo surprisingly puts in the call. I turn over my cards and he pushes them to the dealer. That means we're rewarded with that $317 pot. Let's go. Real quickly, you guys, if you want to play online with me in beautiful places like this, you can do it on Club GG. There'll be a link down below. Come play with myself, my buddy Ethan, Mariano, Karan, all the homies, and you can play from anywhere, even in beautiful St. Martin. So yeah, let's get back into the hands. If you guys want to get on that virtual felt, there'll be a link down below. And there's weekly free rolls, so you don't even have to put any money in. Sounds like a great deal to me. Let's go. Back to the action. We look down at pocket tens from the big blind. Middle position raises it up to $20. And the button, who's Andrew, he stacked us in that aces versus ace king hand. He makes it $75 now. Could go for the 4-bet here. I decide in the moment to flat call. And the middle position, who initially raised it to 20, he gets out of the way, going heads up against Andrew to a jack high board, jack 3 deuce. I'm going to check my entire range here over to Andrew, and he decides to bet out for 2 green chips. That's $50, and I'm not folding my pair here on 1 overcard board. I toss in the call, and that brings the king of hearts in on the turn. When he c-bets the flop, I expect him to have a lot of pairs. Not too many draws, maybe some ace 4, ace 5. So I'm going to check the action over to him for a second time, looking to see what he does. Surprisingly, he checks behind on the king of hearts, and that brings in the 5 of hearts on the river. I might be good here. I have some showdown value with my pocket tens. I think leading out here with a bet is a bad move. He could just raise us and get us off our showdown value, whereas a check call might be a better move. That's what I decided to do, and we're not going to have to call any bets. He checks behind. I'm expecting to be good here until he turns over the ladies pocket queens. I think he should go for a little bit of thin value there on the river. I might have paid him off. Oh well, 267 going his way. No worries though, we look down at ace queen of diamonds here in the next hand. I'm on the button with 1200 in my stack. The $10 straddle is on, and there's a few limpers over to me, so I make it $60. When the straddler makes it $225, I'm not putting too much merit that he has a strong hand. A lot of the time, and especially in Texas and Florida, in places where there's crazy action, the straddle players like to get aggressive with their holdings, thinking that I'm just trying to take down the dead money. So when he makes it $225, I probably could be going for the 4-bet jam, but I decide just to call here. Let's take a flop in position. Flop's not a great one though. It comes 9-8-4 with 1 diamond, so when the straddle leads out for $300, we're pretty much handcuffed. We just have to fold our cards. I think I'm learning here in this session that I like the jams early on pre-flop, especially with hands like ace king, ace queen, so we can realize all our equity. Who knows what the straddle has here? It's most likely a good hand, although you just really never know here in Texas. We end up changing tables and rebuy for $600 more. Crazy action here in the double board PLO bomb pots. A dude gets a royal flush. He just flops it on the top board, the jack 10 of clubs. Absolutely insanity. Let's see what we can do here with pocket aces, the bullets. I have a full 1500 in my stack. I'm ready to finally get my double up. I'm in the +1 and I raise it up to $20, and there's 1 caller. The small blind now re-raises to $120, which is definitely a large sizing considering it's only 1 raise and 1 call. Probably would expect him to go 80 to 90. So when he makes it 120, I'm putting him on a strong hand like kings or queens. And I say that because now I decide to 4-bet here with my aces, but I also size up because I'm targeting those strong hands like ace, king, kings, queens, something of that nature. So I 4-bet to $420 for you stoners out there. The guy who called for $20, of course, gets out of the way. Action's back over to the small blind who made it 120. And I'm looking for a jam here or at least a call, but he's not going to make my night. He decides to fold. And on top of it, later says that he had pocket queens, one of the hands that I was targeting. It's a great fold by him, but I think in the long run, he needs to just be calling with queens. That's definitely a strong hand to be folding pre-flop. Maybe I'm a little bit salty, who knows? I look down at queen 9 of diamonds and I raise it up to $20. I'm in the cutoff and the button now 3-bets me to $60. When it folds back around to me, I'm definitely not folding. I put in $40 more and we're off to a flop. Flop's actually a decent one without smashing our hand. It comes 10, 8, 8 with 1 diamond. We have a gutter to the straight, an overcard, and a backdoor flush draw. I check it over to the button. When he checks behind, that's great news for us because we can realize some equity, and the 10 of diamonds now double pairs the board. It's a double-edged sword type of card. We pick up the flush draw, but it double pairs the board. Any 8 or 10 now has a boat, and we're pretty much dead in the water. I check it over to the button for a second time, and surprisingly, he doesn't take advantage of that and decides to check behind. That's a pretty weak play. When I check to him twice, I'm never really trapping here with any 8 or 10, so I think he can confidently get me off my ace and king highs. So when the river comes a deuce of diamonds, we make the flush, but the board is double paired like I said. I don't know if I'm going for value here or if I'm going for a bluff, trying to get an 8 to fold, but I bet out for $115 into the $132 pot. Maybe I'm also just trying to get some ace and king highs to call here, just thinking I'm trying to get them off a chop, but he mucks his cards and that means we're finally winning a pot. Let's go. After a session like this, it makes me realize how much I need to study off the felt. I'm going to be using a few training sites. If you guys want any discount codes, I put them in the link below. And we look down at 7, 8 of spades here from the big blind. The straddle's on and there's a few limps to me and I raise it up to $55. Only the middle position puts in the call and we're going heads up to the flop here, which gives us a pair and some backdoor straight and flush draw ideas. Jack 8-5 is $132 out there and I decide to go for a c-bet here of $50. When the middle position now re-raises me to $110. Definitely a strange line here, but it's only $60 more for me to call. Any 8 or 7 will likely give us the best hand. Additionally, any 6 will give us an open-ended straight draw and any spade will give us a flush draw, so I think $60 more is a reasonable price to pay here. Till the turn comes an absolute dud, the deuce of clubs. Where did that card come from? No hope for us here. I check it over to middle position and he puts us out of our misery real quickly when he rips it all in for his remaining $450. No way we can call that. I muck my cards. And the next hand we look down at king queen offsuit. We have $1,400 in our stack. A local Austin legend by the name of Jay Wynn in middle position opens it up to $15. I 3-bet him to $50 and he decides to put in the call. We're off to a flop which comes ace high, ace 3 deuce with 2 hearts. I have the king of hearts in my hand. When he checks it over to me, I decide to go for a c-bet here of half pot. There's $107 out there to win and I'm going to have a lot of strong aces in my range, so I like my c-bet here against Jay Wynn. On this fairly draw heavy board, he puts in the call. That brings in the 7 of clubs on the turn, and when he checks it over to me for a second time, I think I need to go for the double barrel here. It's likely he can find some calls on the flop with any of his pocket pairs between 3s and aces, such as 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. A double barrel here will get him to fold those cards. Any heart flush draw is going to have a hard time calling multiple streets, knowing I could potentially go all in on the river. So for that reason, I bet out for $155, and I definitely like this bet, sizing up here into the $207 pot. And sure enough, he mucks his cards, so we likely got him to fold a better hand here. And that brings us to the last hand of the night, and go figure, it's pocket aces. Can we finally win a big pot with American Airlines? I raise it up to $20 and I get 3 callers. It's setting up nicely for a large pot here. There's $80 in it already until it comes 7-7-6 with 2 spades. I like the fact there's 2 spades on board and I have the ace of spades in my hand, but the pair of 7s is a little bit worrisome. Given the fact there's 3 other opponents in the hand, I decide to check my action and the action gets checked around. When the turn comes the 6 of hearts, double pairing the board. Now any 6 fills up. The action checks over to the player on my right who bets out for $50. I'm not going anywhere with my pair of aces. I've underplayed my hand for sure. I toss in the $50, although it's pretty unlikely this guy is going for a bluff here into 3 other opponents. I'm the only one to put in the call, and that brings in the 8 of spades on the river, as if this board could not get any more connected. Flush draw comes in and the straight draw comes in, being 9-10 or 4-5. He leads out for $100 here, and I think this is just a snap fold. I do have the ace of spades in my hand, which for what it's worth blocks him from having a few spade flush draws, but in the moment I got married to my pocket aces here and tossed in 1 black chip. Might be a little bit of tilt or just the fact that it was my last hand of the night. And sure enough, he shows me the bad news. He had a boat on the turn, made a better one on the river with the 8-6 of diamonds, and he's going to take down that $380 pot there, and that's going to end our night. I rack up my chips and head to the cage. Alright you guys, that brutal session has finally come to an end. We were in for 3,600, yes 3,600, out for 1,225. That's not very good. Net loss of 2,375 if my math is correct. Oh well though, gotta have some of those sessions. When you have so many big upticks, you're gonna have some down ticks as well. But you know what you could do to make this video just a little bit better is drop a subscribe on this video. Really would appreciate it. Share it with any friends that like to see poker players lose big. And as always, good luck on the felt the next time you guys play. Really appreciate all the support in these last few videos. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.